Hello everyone, welcome you all to Samiksha IAS Academy. As you all know, couple of days back, a Bangalore-bounded bus from Hyderabad met with an accident in the district of Kurnool in the state of Andhra Pradesh. In that particular incident, more than 20 plus people died due to the sudden outburn of the flares. However, these kind of incidents are not sporadic. Every year, due to one or other type of road accidents, like more than thousands of people, sometimes 1 lakh, sometimes 1.5 lakh. In the year 2023, 1.73 lakh people, they are dying in one or the other road related mishaps. In this context, what we thought, if we provide a comprehensive analysis with respect to road transport infrastructure and with respect to road safety, so that especially those who are preparing for UPSC civil services examination, they will get a broader idea about this. Why? Because roads as a topic within infrastructure is given in GS paper 3. In this context, we thought if we provide a wider details with respect to road infrastructure so that you can get some broader insights. Before that, if you just see some headlines, as we just discussed, every year in the year 2023, just see the headline 1.73 lakh people died. Similarly, if there happens to be collapse of bridges, road bridges, that also leads to death of people. Sometimes due to environmental factors. Just recently we have seen during the time of Darjeeling floods, we have seen collapse of bridges and eventually leading to deaths of people. So in this context, first let us try to understand up to what extent this road network is wider. What is the size of this network? Right. These things we will be discussing in this particular video under these 5 broad headings. The first one is the snapshot of road transport sector in the country. Second one, this is with respect to exclusively about the recent sleeper bus deaths. Why there happen sudden flares? Why these kind of flares are happening? What can be specific reason for that? We will be also discussing in general way the issues with road sector, and the next one is the kind of initiatives being taken up by the government and eventually what should be the way forward. The first one, if you see here, the snapshot on Indian road transport sector. See the size. We have 63 lakh kilometers of road network in the country, one of the largest in the world. Similarly, see the contribution, 87% of the passenger traffic, 60% of freight, sharing rest with railways and ports. That means roads are major contributors for economic growth, for regional integration. This compelled the government to allow 100% FDI in the sector. Right? Similarly, if you see another classification within this 6.3 million kilometers, where it actually got distributed. If you see, we have national highways, we have state highways, and we have major district and village roads. If you just see the numbers here, just see the numbers. National highways, they hardly carry 2%, right? And close to 4% is being carried by the state highways. That means out of the given 6.8 million kilometers, right? Hardly 1.46 lakhs being carried by the national highways, 1.79 lakh by the state highways, rest close to 80% is being carried by rural and village roads. So this is where we actually need more number of development. Still here we have hardly 40% of the area covered with roads, unlike Western countries. Okay, so this is one of the glaring fact we need to understand. Next, when we specifically discuss about this particular Kurnool bus mishap incident, why there happened sudden flares that leads to death of more than 20 plus people. Here, the specific reasons are 3 things here you can understand under 3 divisions. First one is unregulated just a second. Unregulated bus body construction. You know what exactly this? See here, usually most of the bus operators, be it most of the road transport corporations or be it private sector, most of them, the engines that they will be getting registered with the a proper regulator. But most of the bus bodies, they're being built in some informal workshops. While building these bus bodies, most of them, they just focus on the interiors. Hardly anybody takes care about the fire safety. That's what happened over there. Most of the material they are using are synthetic. If any small portion catches the fire, it burns the whole bus, because that's the issue with synthetic bodies. Right? That's what happened here. So highly presence of flammable substances, unregulated bus body construction, and restricted emergency evacuation. Just one entrance door, one fire safety exit. Even that was not open, because mostly these people will come with layers. They just want to fill more number of seats. Hardly takes care about the fire safety. When there happens in unfortunate situation, this is what happens. The one that happened recently, death of more than 20 plus people. So the challenges with respect to transport sector, one of the major challenges is this road safety. Right? Be it fire flare-ups or road-related accidents. So what are the issues with this sector? Why we could not able to effectively tackle? What kind of challenges we are facing? This you can actually understand under 5 E's. So this is very much important. You remember challenges being faced by the road sector in 5 E's. What are these 5 E's? The first one, as we mentioned here, issues with engineering, right? Issues with enforcement, issues with education, issues with emergency care, and finally issues with environment. Without understanding the nature, if you just go and build roads over there, if there happens to be floods, if the infrastructure is not disaster resilient, we may see mishaps. So under these 5 regions, we can actually understand the whole issue being faced by the road sector. You can also apply these 5 E's in other sectors also. So if you see here, in this context, with respect to engineering, we have close to 6.6 million kilometers of road network. But still we have gaps persist in the state and rural roads. Still there are places they are not properly connected with main roads. Okay. Next, if you see, 40% of the roads remains unsurfaced. That means we don't have proper road network. Right? Where we are coming up with roads, there still we have a lot of faulty designs. Just a glaring example. Just go and observe the footpaths in and around you. Hardly there are any good maintainable footpaths in the country. Most of the footpaths being encroached. Hardly anybody follows the pedestrian path. Okay. Hardly, if you see, travel like when there is a two-wheeler and four-wheeler, right? When they move on the road, you can clearly see the pattern. Most of the time the four-wheelers, they drive on the left side. Understood? So when on one side we have issues with faulty designs, on the other side we have issues with enforcement, like the one. These people just allow the buses to operate, but hardly there will be any check. Issues with engineering, issues with enforcement. There's sometimes lack of coordination among the national and state level agencies, issues with education, civic sense. See here, 11% of the global deaths are happening in India. Right? So most of the times when we think of helmets, hardly people will think like why we should wear. Okay. Next is emergency care. Most of the times whenever there happens an incident, still we have issues with respect to reaching of emergency services to these people. Most of the times it's not just because of the accident. Post accident, due to lack of effective emergency care, most people will die, right? Then the last one is issues with environment. You must understand the nature. Accordingly, we have to construct the roads. So under these 5 E's, we can understand the issues being faced by the road sector. So does this mean the government is sitting silent? Obviously no. We have good amount of initiatives being taken up by the government. Be it Bharatmala Pariyojana, PM Gram Sadak Yojana, under which to reach to the hinterland areas where still they don't have access to roads. We have PM Gati Shakti, a national level plan integrating with technology being made so that they can monitor on day-to-day basis what's happening with respect to the what you call that the day-to-day outcomes of the projects, daily reports. They can get that, right? We have infrastructure pipeline to understand like how much investment we need, where we should invest, how much. We have an infrastructure pipeline for roads, railways, and other sectors, right? Similarly, we have involvement of the private sector under the PPP model, under this hybrid annuity model. The government will provide some kind of viability gap funding, right? Rest will be taken care by the private players. We allowed the private sector, right? We also came up with this FASTag and intelligent transport system by integrating the IoT so that there won't be much rush like in and around the toll plazas and smooth movement of the vehicles. And we also amended this Motor Vehicles Act. They'll be coming up with huge penalties for violations, also protecting the Good Samaritans. Earlier, this was not the case. If any Good Samaritan wants to save people, later they used to be harassed. But under the recent clauses, we removed all those harassment clauses. The government came up with good amount of initiatives. Be it National Road Safety Policy, Setu Bharatam with respect to road over bridges, especially along where we have this intersection of road and rail networks. Right. Also, we have this border roads organization, especially to cater to the needs of the people along the border areas. We have institutions, we have initiatives, but the problem is with implementation. Right. So, as we already discussed, as the issues is in these 5 E's, the solution also must come in these 5 E's. So, we have issues with engineering. There, we must come up with changes. We have issues with enforcement, we have issues with education, we have issues with emergency care. Here the change has to come, right? For example, see, when it comes to engineering, if you take the case of bridges, in the case of in the country of Japan, for every 5 years, the bridges must be inspected. In the US, there is a national regulator to inspect the bridges. In Germany, they follow standards on the basis of which only the bridges need to be constructed. Whereas in the case of India, that is not the case. Right? For example, the simple thing called footpath. Most of the time, we see footpaths, they are being encroached. Even if there are footpaths, sometimes the actual size should be of 15 centimeters. The height should be. But most of the time, it won't be followed. Right? And we right now, the government, we have design, we have technology, we have 3D designs to find out to come up with these signs. But we must educate people. The law enforcement agencies must coordinate. They must inspect buses on time. They must inspect other vehicles on time. They must inspect overloaded vehicles. Okay. Finally, emergency care. Here we must take care. We must integrate that with technology. As we just discussed, it's not just accident. Post-accident, there will be a certain amount of time. At that particular amount of time, if you provide emergency care, we can save their lives. That's why, as we all know, road network is very much essential as it is the backbone of economic growth and regional integration. So that's why protecting it, right, by effectively following engineering methods, right, with strong enforcement and like educating people and eventually providing good emergency services is very much required. That's the need of the hour. All right.